Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy, based on the beloved book series by J.R.R. Tolkien, is widely considered to be a masterclass in the fantasy genre, and for good reason. All three of those movies are absolutely fantastic. They're masterpieces. And as James Berardinelli pointed out, there are three sections of the same story, and they're filmed on one shoot. So it could be considerably argued that they are one film, divided up into three by necessity. And that's an opinion, after a reflection that I share. So this is why we're going to review the Lord of the Rings extended edition. Not the ones that come in, the color cardboard boxes, but the Blu-ray version that comes in a gold box. I have to say that if you're a fan of those movies in any way, shape, or form, get this edition of it. It is entirely worth it. I haven't seen the special effects, special features or whatever, but I love these movies, and there's so much new content that it's almost like seeing them again. And it's interesting. There's some scenes that are added into this movie that Peter Jackson must have agonized over cutting out, and some that arguably should have been left in. Like, for example, the scene in The Fellowship of the Ring when Aragorn visits his mother's grave or memorial, and Elrond comes to him and explains why she did what she did, and it gives him a little info about his past. That scene arguably should have been left in. It's not very long, but it gives a key insight into his character and his past, and makes his actions better motivated. By the same token, there's a scene in the Two Towers when we actually first meet Denethor, the father of Faramir and Boromir, and where he tells Boromir about the meeting that Elrond is called. Yeah, I can understand why Peter Jackson cut it out, but I also can imagine him truly regretting it and agonizing over it, because it has such a... First of all, it's a great scene, and it gives a lot of better insight into why Boromir did what he did, and his relationship with his brother and his father, which sets up a lot of what goes on in the third movie. And they didn't, when they were making this movie, they didn't approach it like an extended edition. They were approaching it like they were making the movies for the first time all over again. So yeah, they didn't just include everything they could possibly have. They actually were like, okay, is this working? If not, let's cut it out. If it is, let's put it in. Right. And I think I honestly, I love the movie, the theatrical versions, but I think these versions, they work even better. I really do. So for the entire box set, it's a definite 4 out of 4. It's a masterpiece. If you love the movies, you gotta get it. And it's kind of a steep price, either $50 or $100, but I'm telling you, it's worth every penny.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even remember where the difference between the theatrical version. This is the only version I watch now. This is what and this is how much I love this. This is what I display. This is the only film I display. It's on top of my entertainment center.
Yeah,
I have it displayed because I love it. Because just looking at this set.
Oh yeah,
it makes me happy. Because my entertainment center, the way it is, all my other DVDs are in drawers, and stuff. I don't have but I have this other. It's so pretty. It looks nice, and I love it. And it makes me happy. It is. Yeah, it's the definitive version of the films.
Yes.
And then do you want to dive into the films?
I mean,
15 years old, but
I mean, they have not aged a day. No. They still look fantastic. And one thing, I have to mention, before anything else, is Andy Serkis, who plays Gollum. His interpretation of this creature, of Gollum, it has to be one of cinema's greatest creations. And it's not just the CGI that created the visual look for Gollum. It's his movements, his choices in the voice, his reactions, and I mean, he is just a fascinating and unforgettable creature that gives so much heart and poignancy in a very similar way, I think, that Vincent did in Cowboy Bebop the movie, which we were talking about earlier, which you, for reasons I can't fathom, hated, but I digress, that's not the point. He is just a fascinating character. And Andy Serkis, like, they ruled that he was ineligible for a Best Supporting Actor Oscar nomination because it was mostly CGI. I think that's a travesty. I really do. You have to rank this alongside Anthony Hopkins in The Silence of the Lambs, Norman Bates in Psycho, Marlon Brando in The Godfather, all these heavy hitters. That is how good this guy is.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it is just amazing work. And, for a movie that has so many parts so many things going on, so many speaking parts, so many characters, and says everything is a top notch. There's not a bad moment in it. There's not a dull moment in it. There's not a movie that's like, oh, they're gonna cut this out. Like, no, it zips along, and I mean, the acting is fantastic. Elijah Wood has always been good. He has never been better. Viggo Mortensen became an overnight star as Aragorn, as well he should have been, because he's excellent. He should have got an Oscar nomination and perhaps a win. Ian McKellen is fabulous as Gandalf, the wizard who is both highly intelligent and surprisingly human, and can hold his own with a sword, which is very cool to see. These movies are as close to perfection as you can possibly get. They really are.
Yeah.
And the battle scenes are exciting, and each one has a great battle scene. For example, the Fellowship of the Ring has the one in the mines.
Yes.
The
cave troll.
Yeah, the cave troll, the Balrog. The Two Towers is the Battle of Helm's Deep, and also the one with the War Riders. That one's a lot of fun. And of course, the third one has the Battle of Pelennor Fields, the Siege of Gondor, and all that stuff. And it's just fantastic.
Yeah. It really is. Speaking of Andy Serkis, that was the first CGI character I ever watched and believed.
Yes.
And it was because of his performance. Kudos to the special effects team, obviously. The technology came along to the point where they could make it look convincing, and you could forget that was beat down a computer. But it was also equally as much because of his performance, the way that he sold. Because it's a creature, but and a character at the same time.
Right.
And had that not been successful, the film would have been so much less. It would. So that was the biggest triumph, but then the grandeur of these battle scenes and these, of course, they're using the beautiful New Zealand, I think it is. Yeah. Scenes, for natural looking beauty, and it does look amazing and a perfect place. But then
he creates a world that you literally want to be able to touch the screen and journey into.
Right. Yeah. But then the way he builds these cities on the side of mountains.
Yeah.
And the way they look, it is so amazing. In his direction, so there are shots here that I've never seen before in a movie up to that point. It's just it looks amazing. It's like he thought about it from what I would want to see. So instead of I'm looking in this cool battle, and stuff, and it's like let's pan up over and see it from another amazing angle. And I got chills, especially during the Battle of Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
My all-time favorite battle for so many reasons, from the way it's constructed, to where it times you're up close with the characters, and there's comedy, there's killing,
toss me. You're gonna have to what? I can't jump that distance. You're gonna have to toss me.
Yeah.
Not a word to the elf. Don't tell the elf. Not a word. And you just see that, and you're just incredulously priceless smile on Aragorn's face. That's really funny.
Yeah. To where at times you feel the the concern, the weight. The people are dying.
Yeah.
And and the good guys are they're going to lose this battle, and there's character development in the same time. The king, you find, he's the fight, that charging out, the scene on the bridge.
It's so dramatically worth it.
Yeah, and
it's so dramatically potent.
Yeah, it's dramatic and it's amazing. The way I love when they're charging the people, they fall off the bridge, the orc, everything, and then of course the big return of Gandalf and how beautifully shot. It's amazing.
Gorgeous.
I seriously I need just talking about I have chills, but I can remember in the theater, and it's still if I watch it again.
Yeah.
Every hair on my body seeing it. It's so awesome.
I remember when I was watching The Lord of the Rings in the theaters, I was just praying that it would never end. Yeah. There's only one or two movies that have done that to me, and I'm like, this is. It's unbelievable. This is a movie that has to be seen to be believed. And the Blu-ray version of it, which is the only way to see this movie, in the box set, in the version we're talking about, it looks gorgeous. This is just gorgeous stuff. And what I also like about this movie is it's a very literate script. And, there's a sense of poetry in the way these characters talk, which makes it so interesting. To listen to.
Right.
And
everything. Yeah, the dialogue. Everything.
It's stylized.
Yeah, it's just you feel like you were watching all-time great cinema that's never going to age. It's going to be great 100 years from now.
Like Casablanca or The Godfather.
Right.
And there's no sense of pretension that it's an important film. It's important for film history, and because it's so fucking awesome.
Yes.
And in an epic movie like this, which is obviously what this is, a director cannot forget about the little dramatically important moments. There's so many that stick out. For example, there's a scene, in The Return of the King where Sam and Frodo are on the, side of Mount Doom, and he is not able to keep it going. And they have this conversation about what the Shire means to them. It's like, I can't carry it, but I can't carry you. But I can't carry you. That nearly brings tears to the eyes. And then there's the scene where Bilbo, at the very start of the franchise, he introduces the Shire. That's very well done. And there's a scene, or when the Nazgul first come to Bree, and you see the extra characters, the extras in the pub, are just terrified as the Nazgul just walk through. They're just. It's terrifying.
They're scary, yeah.
They are terrifying.
Horrible. I even love the introduction of at the time, Stryker.
Strider, yeah.
His character.
You see his eyes light up.
That's why he is scary and everything.
Are you frightened? Yes, not nearly frightened enough. I know it hunts you.
Yeah,
it's so well developed.
Right, I thought I was going to be watching a horror movie for a while.
And then speaking of that, Sheila. The spider in Return of the King. Oh my god. I remember sitting in the theater. I was with a friend of mine. I had already finished my soda. I didn't realize it until after the scene was over. My soda cup was nearly twisted into a pulp. I'm not kidding. I have no shame in admitting that. Because it is that scary. It's that well done. And what I like about that is Peter Jackson, he's an arachnophobic. So he designed the creature based on what kind of spider scared him. Is that he had slime. He had a little things moving around. That just made it so much scary. Little teeth, little claws.
Yeah.
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
And then just the way that Peter Jackson directs this. I mean, you could make the argument that of all the main characters, it could be said that the whole thing is their story. You could say it's Aragorn's story. You could say it's Frodo's story. You could say it's Merry and Pippin's story. You could even say it's Legolas or Gimli's story.
Yeah.
Or Eowyn's story. And again, the performances are all fantastic. There's not a flat moment.
Yeah.
In any of the acting, he's a master. You mentioned the battle scenes. I remember I was watching, the end of the Return of the King last night, and I was just struck by the shot where all this stuff is going on, and you've got massive army of orcs and Uruk-hai coming in from Mordor towards Gondor, and then you got the Nazgul flying in from off screen, and the camera has to be like 10,000 feet above Gondor, and the camera just swoops in kind of almost behind the Nazgul as they soar down to attack the human beings and the men in Gondor, and it's awe-inspiring. I mean, and I don't know how Peter Jackson, a director with no real note at the time, convinced New Line to fund that, including marketing, was about $500 million for this super ambitious, project, when it could very well have bankrupted New Line. But I'm so glad they did. And it is, I know they were going to they wanted to make money from all the visuals and social effects and fan service and all that stuff, but I don't think anyone expected it to be this good. I mean, it is just incredible.
Yeah. When I think about you mentioned the giant spider. Any horror movie would love to have that giant spider and that scene in their film. Any action movie would love to have one of these battles, just one of them, and even a part of one of these battles. It's so long,
none of them. For example, the Marvel movies, none of them have even come close to halfway for the excitement and awe that just one of these battles contains.
Right, yeah. So and then on a smaller level, the relationships, the romance, the friendships, they feel like they care about each other when they reunite. You feel the happiness that they're seeing each other, they're concerned about each other. It's amazing. It's a success on every single level. There's nothing, not one, bad note. Even the drawn out, it's not over. Yeah. I didn't care because I didn't want it to end.
Right.
And these are 3 hours into the theater before the Blu-rays, which, bump these things up closer to 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I do not care one bit.
Neither do I. I wanted to see even more.
Yes, I know.
It's because these characters are so likable or hateable, depending on which one we're talking about, and just the world he's created is just so all-encompassing. It feels like a real place.
Yes.
And watching these movies again and again, it really does feel like you're reuniting with old friends. It really, really does. And it's there really aren't any. We just spent about almost 20 minutes talking about these movies, and I've just come to realize that you really can't describe how amazing the Lord of the Rings film trilogy is. I mean, there are no words to describe it. So if you love these movies, you have to get this version of it. It's worth every single penny.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you haven't watched it in a while, or you have, I'm just so looking forward to watching these with my kids in a few years.
Yeah.
When they get the age where they can really appreciate everything that's going on.
Oh, yeah.
If I had to list, a favorite trilogy by hands down, it's my favorite trilogy.
Yeah. It's equivalent to Star Wars.
Yeah. And I was never polling so hard for a film to get Picture of the Year. They were to Return of the King because, like you said, these were really one film, just spread out by necessity over 3. And I was so happy the Academy recognized, because if they had it, I don't know. I think I would
they made
boycotted.
They've made their share of boneheaded decisions. Shakespeare in Love over Saving Private Ryan, for example. I mean,
right.
But
but they got it right. They recognized
they really did.
the achievement that was here and gave it to, and that's one of my all-time favorite decisions there. Okay.